3 months since assuming the role of governor in the BVI, His Excellency Governor John Duncan says he is pleased with the developments in the Virgin Islands, which has a leadership that understands business. The governor was the guest speaker at the BVI Chamber of Commerce and Hotel Association's luncheon held Tuesday, October 21st at Maria's by the Sea Hotel. The governor spoke approvingly of various policies and projects being pursued by the Dr. Deolanda Smith-led administration.
I'm, on the whole, very happy with the way that these things are developing. You have a broad expertise within government. At the top level, as I mentioned, you have a governor who has worked in UK trade and investment, who has a personal family history of business, and understands where business people are coming from. In cabinet, we have a majority of businessmen, people who have had experience of running a business and have been successful in that. And I can tell you, when we have cabinet discussions on contracts and tenders, it's a very interesting discussion. And we start talking about, has this company got sufficient cash flow to actually carry out this contract? And it's a businessman's discussion. It's not a politician's discussion that takes place. And I hope that in future we'll be actually able to show you a little bit more of that discussion as we move down the transparency side. But that will come in time. What I wanted to say is that you have in this territory a leadership which understands business and understands what business needs. Sometimes I may need to remind my cabinet colleagues to think like businessmen, not like politicians, but the basic understanding there is quite profound.
Governor Duncan, who shares a history of family-owned business, applauded the BVI for not opening its doors to the franchise business in fast food industry. He also observed that some local businesses are doing well while others are not, and the trade imbalance caused by the high number of residents who traveled to the USVI to purchase consumer items.
We have not had McDonald's and Wendy's and all these sort of things. We are allowing local businessmen and women to provide that function. I think that's very wise. But as a business model, I think we should think seriously about using it more. There's no reason why people should not move into other areas of business franchise. If it's not fast food, there's plenty of opportunity for doing things as a business franchise model which are worth thinking about. I'm struck that there are businesses in this territory who are doing very well, who as soon as a container comes in, that container is offloaded, it goes into the shops, and it's out of those shops in a matter of days, if not weeks. They know how to appeal to the consumer, and it's very encouraging. And some of them doing it with a pretty substantial markup, because it's very easy to see what they're charging in BVI and what's going on online or in the UK or US, wherever those products come from. So it's good business, and they are doing it well, and congratulations to them for doing that. That's what business is all about. There are others, I won't mention names, where I see old stock sitting around, which clearly has not moved for a long time. Now, as business people, we all know what old stock means. Old stock means capital that's not getting a return. You could put that money in the bank and get a better return than having a whole lot of stuff sitting in the shop. Consumers go to USVI, I'm told. Well, why do they do that? It's not easy to go to USVI. It's quite difficult. The ferries are always problematical, particularly in the low season. And it's expensive, and it's time-consuming. So, as business people, if we're finding our consumers are disappearing next door, we need to ask ourselves, what is it they're going for, why are they going, and can we sell it?
Commenting on the demand for transparency as a growing global trend, the governor called for the preservation of the local financial services sector. He said the BVI provides a legal and administrative service to businesses across the globe, and not a financial service.
The demand for transparency is a big global trend. It is not going to go away, and it affects both business and it affects government. In terms of government, it's the demand for more accountability of our politicians and officials. It's the trend that leads us to open government, and these things are very difficult to manage. They're equally difficult to manage for business, but it's not going to change. It's going to continue to go down that path. And we need to find ways of responding to that. And the Minister was very clear that we need to do that if we are to preserve what is the most important keystone of the BVI economy, and that is the financial services. In some ways a bit of a misnomer, because the BVI offer as the center of global trade, which has happened so rapidly after the collapse of the Cold War, the globalization of trade, the globalization of supply chains, a real phenomena which I saw firsthand from the French market when I was there. This is not widely understood. Our role in it is not widely understood, and it is not really a financial service. It is a legal and administrative service that we provide to business, and we are second to none in our ability to do that. So we must preserve that, because it is the cornerstone of the global economy, it is the cornerstone of this economy, and we need to find a way to preserve that as we move forward.
The BVI now enjoys the position of having the highest gross domestic product, or GDP, in the Eastern Caribbean. Governor Duncan says this is largely due to the significant economic and political strides made by the BVI over the past 40 years.